Hello, my name is Kevin Henderson, and I'm an assistant professor in the English department at Drury. My research interests include studies in the novel, 20th century American literature, creative writing pedagogy, and film theory. I really enjoy teaching a wide range of English and writing courses, mainly because I get to talk with students about how we read, interpret, and write as a way of making sense of our lives. As a teacher, I try to offer what I like most as a student, classes that were challenging yet funny, classes that balance lectures with getting in a circle and hearing everyone's reactions to that day's reading. I like to help students avoid the misconception that we're just there to bow down before the classics or somehow solve for X in determining the one correct meaning of a poem or novel. Although my own interests are in modern and postmodern American literature, it is difficult and probably ridiculous to study any country's literature separate from global influences. This is one reason why I enjoy teaching Studies in Contemporary Literature, a class where we examine the last half century through works by Nobel laureates as well as lesser-known writers from around the world. Students read selections from Isabel Allende or Wisława Szymborska in dialogue with American authors, from the Beat generation up through novelists like Jonathan Foer, who help us try to make sense of life in a post-9/11 world. When we can't call something literature simply because it's been around for hundreds of years, I like that we have to ask very humanities-oriented questions like, what are the qualities that make something literary? And how do novels or dramas function in our lives? I also love to teach creative writing. Trying to write a short story, from discussing issues of craft to brainstorming to drafting and revising, helps students explore conflict through fictional characters and invite readers to relate to their way of seeing the world. Creative writing also helps students pay close attention to language and use narrative as a way of asking questions about humanity without having to provide all the answers. Even though I grew up with a real love of reading, I was always interested in movies and visual storytelling. When I teach a course called The History of Film, I get to talk about how more than a century of filmmakers have contributed to the language of cinema. As students learn this language, they become able to articulate how a great film works on many levels. They also learn how we can read film as literature and write about film to examine why we identify with classics like Buster Keaton's The General, Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, or very contemporary films like Wes Anderson's The Royal Tenenbaums, Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, and Sarah Polley's Stories We Tell. Beyond the classroom, I've helped create a humanities film series in coordination with the Moxie Cinema downtown. Basically, we host classic, independent, or foreign films for an audience of Drury students, as well as the broader community of film lovers in Springfield. We follow each screening with a brief lecture and then moderate a question and answer session with the audiences. Here, questions about justice, civil rights, and the common good become a natural extension of watching a great film together. Literature, creative writing, and film classes also provide opportunities for students to discuss their emotional connections to narratives and to recognize emotion as an aid to understanding. As great writers and filmmakers find new ways to capture the human experience, students who will become the next generation of writers and filmmakers find ways to narrate our common needs, fears, struggles, and hopefully our shared faith in human potential.